Regularly scheduled meeting. This meeting is being recorded. It is now 7:03 and we will begin. I will start with commissioner introductions. If everyone can please stay muted until it's your turn to help reduce reverb, that would be great. Starting with the left on my screen, Commissioner Gore.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa Gore, and I am Commissioner for SMD 01, which is all of Hawthorne and portions of Barnaby Woods. So my SMD basically goes up to Pinehurst Circle over towards down, is that Utah technically, and around Tennyson, then back up towards the tributary, jump over the tributary, come up Beach and Oregon Avenue where it meets Western. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you. Commissioner Goss.
Yeah, I'm Peter Gosselin. I'm the commissioner for District 6, which is the west side of Connecticut back to 42nd between Western and Military, the east side of Connecticut to Nevada between Military and Legation.
Thank you. Commissioner Simmons.
Hi, Commissioner Simmons. I have the east side of Connecticut from Legation down to Western Avenue, all the way back to Broad Branch, which is the divider for Ward 3 and 4. And my SMD includes the Library and Community Center.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. Commissioner Sherman.
Hi, Bruce Sherman. I'm the commissioner in District 2, which is the area where the Knollwood Retirement Community is located, the new Murray Barrett Fields, St. John's College High School, the Episcopal Center for Children. We're over by Rock Creek Park. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner Sherman. Commissioner Grunwald.
And the biggest pile of snow of any of us.
Right.
Yeah, Mount Nebraska.
Right.
Me and my husband drove by there today, Bruce, and he saw that snow pile and he was like, good Lord. Terrible.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm Carol Grunwald. Good evening. Can you hear me? I'm Carol Grunwald. My district is 03, which is bounded by Utah Avenue to the northeast, 27th Street to the east, Broad Branch to the south and to the west, McKinley on the north, then it jogs north and east along Nebraska, where it rejoins Utah Avenue. Thank you for joining.
Commissioner Nagy.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I feel like my commission area is a lot easier to describe than everyone else's. It's Military Road on the north, Nevada on the east, Chevy Chase Parkway on the south, then you come back up through Reno, and it's sort of like an upside down Hershey's Kiss. So thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you. And I am Laura Finizzi, Chair of the ANC and Commissioner for Single Member District 4, which is roughly between Utah, Western, Broad Branch, and McKinley Street, and site of Lafayette School and Lafayette Pointer Park. So thank you so much for coming. So for the meeting procedures, we're going to try to stick to our agenda. Normally, commissioners will have 2 minutes to talk at a time. We can amend that if needed. For general comments and constituents, 1 minute at a time. Please remember that if issues are in creating great passions, try to keep it to the facts. And remember that we all have the good of the community at heart, even if we differ on what that good may look like in the specific. We need to adopt our meeting minutes. Commissioner Grunewald.
Yes, hi. I'd like to move that we adopt the minutes for the January 26, 2026 meeting with leave to make technical corrections. But I do understand that Commissioner Simmons has a correction, which I'm happy to make. So how would I do that? Shall I move it and then we correct that? Is that it? What happens first?
I think you could move to adopt the minutes with the correction sent earlier today by Commissioner Simmons.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Word. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's fine. And Corinthia wanted me to remove the word dramatically, and I'm happy to do that. So consider it done. Uh, and maybe Commissioner Nagy has another correction. I'm not sure.
Oh, I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I thought
I
we were
do
getting further along. When
I
you're
do
done,
have
I do have something.
I do have a question for Commissioner Gosselin, though. I was unsure about the spelling of the gentleman whose 101st birthday you had called attention to in the last meeting. So
Yes.
I wanted to make sure that it was spelled correctly in the minutes. You can get back to me after the meeting
That
with
sounds
that
good. That sounds
information.
like a technical correct.
That's a technical correction.
Yep.
So again, I move that that we adopt the minutes of the January 26, 2026 meeting with leave to make technical corrections. But I'm moving that we're adopting the minutes as amended. Do I have a second?
A
Second.
second.
Thank you. Can we
Okay,
vote,
and
please?
yes, all in favor? Okay, anyone opposed?
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, that was unanimous. Thank you, and thank you for doing those minutes. Now we need to look at our agenda. We had a few folks who wanted to add some things, and I believe I'll start with any removals. I'm sorry, Commissioner Grunwald.
Sorry, I have an addition, please.
Okay, well, I wanted to start with the removals first, and then I think that was with Commissioner Gore, and then we can add on, and see what kind of timing we've got. Commissioner Gore, would you?
Yes, I want to remove the public space application for my portion of the agenda. It was a renewal of submission of documents, so it's already been approved by DDOT. No approval was needed by the ANC.
Thank you, Commissioner Gore. All right, I see a hand from Commissioner Goslin.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify whether we were going to spend a half an hour on or 25 minutes on Murray. My impression was that actually is an issue that's ripe for next meeting. The impression I got from a letter from John Axelrod. If could shorten that a bit, I do hope we can have a full discussion of Go Vocal and make a decision tonight. So if we could use some of that time to hash out the Go Vocal issue, I think that would be good. I defer to Commissioner Sherman about how much time he needs for that issue.
Well,
Okay.
Chair
Commissioner
Fennessy,
Sherman?
yeah,
Mhm.
Chair Fennessy and I have already talked about this, and I agreed to shorten it to 15 minutes. And barring any prolonged questions or comments from commissioners or community, we should easily be able to do that. I've already spoken to Murray and spoken to Friends of the Field about the reduced time.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Sherman. And Commissioner Goslin, you had also indicated that you might need a little more time on the Go Vocal.
Well,
Okay.
I think it's an open and shut case for Go Vocal, but I think some of my
Okay,
fellow.
I'll put a pin there for a second. I believe Commissioner Simmons, you had indicated earlier this week that you wanted to add something.
I have time on the agenda already under commission updates,
Okay.
so I'll do it there.
Okay, perfect. And I do have one item that I would like to add. I have a letter to DEMPED inviting them to the ANC to present that I would like to put in. Maybe I could do it at the end after the snow removal. And that is should be hopefully short. Okay, so.
Oh, wait, Laura, I have an addition too.
I'm
Can
sorry.
you hear?
Yeah.
I have an addition as well. Because were you going to move on to the next thing, or can I make an addition, request for an addition as
You may
well?
make an addition and then I'll read through what we have on the plate and we can adopt it. What would you
Okay,
like?
yeah. So I just wanted to take about maybe 3 minutes of the agenda tonight to inform my colleagues of a very unusual meeting I attended on February 5. A couple of other commissioners were in attendance. At the meeting, the commissioners of ANC 1B passed a resolution to effectively eliminate single-family zoning throughout every neighborhood in the district. They passed this resolution and they plan to pass it to every ANC in the district. with the hope of incorporating it into the comprehensive plan. And I just wanted to fill the other commissioners who weren't at the meeting in on what was said and done at this meeting.
Okay, so this is the requests as we have them. We have the typical resident announcements, removal of the public space construction permit, keeping Go Vocal, keeping Murray but shortening the time, keeping the snow removal resolution, adding in voting on a invitation to DEMPED letter, and Commissioner Grunewald's report on the meeting ANC 1B. All the commission business and adjournment, those are all the same. Can we vote to approve this?
I've got I've got one addition, which we have discussed, which is to have the commission approve the testimony that I'm proposing to give to the Committee on Public Works. We have the resolution on the agenda. We don't have the testimony on the agenda.
Okay, I see.
It should be
correct.
Unless everybody's seen it and people of whatever, unless there's a comment or question, it should be 30 seconds. But yeah, I need to add it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. We'll put that in the 8:15 slot with the snow removal feedback and resolution testimony. Okay. So do we have a motion to adopt the agenda? Okay. Peter, second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, and okay. All right, so that was unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, so now we have our resident comments for anyone from the community where an item is not included in the agenda. Ms. Laporta?
Yes, I just wanted to say something about the deplorable condition of the playground and the community. I brought it up last time, and I didn't know who the commissioner was. Then I heard it was Commissioner Simmons, and I was surprised that she said it's okay. They're doing things that make it safe, because in the Post, she was quoted as saying it was in such bad shape that her own son refuses to play in it. But I see that Commissioner Finney really looks after Lafayette, and Commissioner Goslin really looks after the Lafayette or the Livingston playground. And not only is the slide boarded up, but the ground cover is coming apart. And in fact, my granddaughter was using it as play food when she plays there. So I think we have to do something, and we can't wait for 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 years until a new playground may be built at some new place or some apartment complex. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mrs. Laporta. Appreciate that. And we actually do have some repairs at Lafayette Park that need to be made. So perhaps I can tag team with Commissioner Simmons and see if we can get some repairs on that as well. Mr. Khan.
Yes, thank you. I guess all the commissioners know me. I'm Ron Khan, and I do second Ann's comments. There have been efforts to try to fix the playground. I will let everybody know. So at any rate, that's not what I'm talking about. I didn't see this on the pre-edition agenda, so here goes, okay? On the 16th, the award process shifted from the mayor's announcement of Rift Valley to the what we call the refinement phase. The RFP requirements outline this process. Then if all goes well, the project moves into the 90-day council process. I appreciate the ANC's recognition of the refinement phase activities. One reason is that if gaps exist, a FOIA might have to be needed. So do you want me to list the activities, or do you know the activities associated with the RFP specific to the refinement process? It's just a question.
If you can, you have about 30 seconds, so
Yeah,
whatever
that's
you
what
would
I
like to
figured.
use it for.
Yeah, this won't take more than 30 seconds. Thank you. First is the finalization of design details. Second is comprehensive community engagement. Third is due diligence and site investigations. Four, negotiation of the disposition agreement. Five, regulatory and permitting compliance. And then you have the 90-day council process after that. Those are all very substantial, detailed activities. And I just want to make sure the ANC is committed to those in partnering with the community to do them. And I'm not sure if you're familiar enough with them, but I wouldn't say the clock's ticking because these all have to be done prior to the 90-day, right? And I just want to make sure you're totally aware because they're very detailed and lengthy processes, a lot of them, and they need to be done. And, we'll look forward to working with you, certainly, community. Thank you.
Thank you. No, this is an issue that people care about very much, and I think we will all be very invested in that. But thank you, and feel free to mail on any details that you would like to make sure we're aware of, just in case. Always better to have it duplicated than something missed. Miss Walters?
Yes, hi, good evening. My name is Ann Walters, and I'm the outreach coordinator for the DC Plug project. And I just wanted to let your commissioners and residents know about this upcoming meeting tomorrow evening, virtual meeting. I did share the information with the commissioners. Just want to let the residents know I'm out on the street. When I get home, I could drop the information in the link. And that's the undergrounding of major wires and transformers. That's going to take place in the Chevy Chase area.
Okay,
Starting
so
tomorrow.
if I'm correct, Miss Walters, you are I'm putting a name and a voice to about the upcoming DC plug work.
Yes,
To
that's it.
okay, which is so yeah, so this might be something that we can just take a moment just to read out a little bit from the email that they will be partnering between DDOT and PEPCO to improve reliability and resiliency of the DC government electrical system. And so there was a meeting notice and it had an interactive map, and I believe I sent it out to the affected commissioners. But yes, we are very interested in PEPCO reliability, and Commissioner Gore and I spent a lot of time with PEPCO on the issue. So thank you. Okay, I see Jean. I don't see your last name, Miss Jean.
Hi, I was looking for information to access your meeting before this one, and the website was not working. In the future, what is the best way to find information if it's not posted on your website in order to join meetings?
I would say that, well, first of all, our website is kind of on its last legs, and that's going to be an upcoming topic of discussion, how we port over to a better one that is more reliable. I would say most of the commissioners are good about posting how to get in on their newsletters. If you want to put your information in the chat, you could get directly on someone's email list, or if you go to oanc.dc.gov, you can put in your address, find out who your commissioner is, and email that person. That way you'll be also able to get any single member district emails from that commissioner, and they can be in touch with you directly. But we find that if you go just directly to the Zoom link that we post also on the listserv, Chevy Chase Chatter, Chevy Chase Google group, then that should work. But please get in touch with your commissioner because that's valuable to have in any case. Owen?
Oh, Chair Finney, before we move to Owen, I had something related to what Miss Janine said.
Oh, okay, great. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if you can let the community know when our last meeting will be on the website, because I have a couple of constituents who've asked me for that. So I'm unable to send a link for them to review our last meeting.
I will ask Commissioner Sherman, do you know if the meeting is okay on the YouTube? And if so, could you put that in the chat? Our server is really having a rough time, but I believe YouTube is working. Is that correct?
Yeah, the meeting is posted to the website, to the YouTube site, ANC YouTube site. So commissioners, community members can go to the YouTube site and access the recording there.
If you have a moment in the meeting, could you just put that
Yeah,
in the
sure.
chat
Yeah,
for that
I'll
one?
drop it in the chat.
That would be that would be good. That was kind of a stopgap measure, but hopefully we'll get recordings to whoever needs to see them. Commissioner Gore, can I go ahead with Owen, or is that okay?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a real quick comment on this issue. Our website is up now. I just went on there. I just don't want the community to think that it's permanently down. It's going up, going down, going up, going down. But definitely we, as Chair Finney said, post meetings on Chevy Chase Chatter, the Chevy Chase listserv, Nextdoor, and the majority of commissioners have newsletters. So just check back on that site. It's up right now.
Can you hear me?
You need to mute.
I think somebody might be calling in. I'm not sure whose voice is coming through. Owen Cox, our moker.
Good evening, everyone. My name is William Owen Cox. I'm the Ward 3 representative for the Mayor's Office. I'm with the Mayor's Office for Community Relations and Services. My contact info is in the chat. Just a quick announcement. The past week, I've been getting lots of flags for alleyways that need trash and or recycling services. I want to say thank you for flagging those. I have gone ahead and compiled those flags and shared them with my senior leadership and that of DPW. They're still working through all of the backlog that they have because of the snow. I know that people are frustrated, but you're reaching out to me. It's not fruitless. So please keep that up. And if I could ask, when you do flag something, if you put in a 311 request, say for missed trash, just include the service number with that. It's really helpful for me and really helpful for the DPW team. So keep it up, and thank you for caring so much and reaching out to me, because it makes my job easier. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And I know that the Mokers have been working overtime. Commissioner Goslin, I believe there's somebody in the waiting room. If you can just check. Look like we got a message there. But thank you so much for all your efforts to help get us snow, to help get us the Bobcats. It's been a lot of work for a lot of people, and we appreciate it, even if we still have yet a lot of work to do. All right. Are there any other community announcements? All right, then. So now we have our first item here is the Go Vocal Communication Platform. Discussion will be led by Commissioner Goslin, and I understand, Commissioner Goslin, you have some guests here to help with that presentation.
I do. Tricia Duncan, Commissioner on 3D and one of the moving forces with her colleague Chuck Elkins, will be joining us. Tricia has a great deal of experience with this and with working with the consortium of ANCs, of which we are a part, but the least active member at the moment. I just want to review briefly the history with my fellow commissioners. We agreed to this service, which offers a whole menu of options for improving community engagement. Surveys, yes, technique we use a great deal, but a great deal of other options. We approved it just before the city dropped the 8 proposals for our community center library on us. And I agreed with Commissioner Sherman that we were too close to that issue to be able to learn this new system. So we used our fallback system of SurveyMonkey. We are now at the point of renewing the contract, which I'm encouraging my fellow commissioners to do. And I'd like Commissioner Duncan of 3D to talk about their experience with the Go Vocal service and give us some examples of how they've made it. Commissioner Duncan, let me just ask, I want to let you share screen, but I want to ask my fellow commissioners, which tells you how tech incompetent I am. How do I give her, or could some other commissioner give her the right?
Co-host. Just make her a co-host.
I just did.
Okay.
Oh, go. Okay, Commissioner.
So you should be able to share your screen now.
Okay. Thank you, 34G, for inviting me here. And I would just like to start off by saying that Commissioner Elkins and I have no personal gain from doing this at all. We have just found that Go Vocal has been a really valuable tool for us to engage with our constituents in a much more meaningful way than our community listserv. So, what I thought I would do is very quickly show you our latest project that we did with the community. It's actually ongoing. We are paused right now while we're waiting for some plans for DDOT. And then I'll quickly show you just a little snapshot of the back end. And then I'm just going to open it up for questions because I could do this for an hour, but I'm going to try and, respect your time and do it in about 6 or 8 minutes. Okay, so I have a project set up here. If you can see this, it's called the Arizona Pedestrian Bridge and Trail Project. This is a massive investment in our neighborhood that DDOT plans to do. If you've ever driven down Arizona Avenue to Canal Road, there's an old pedestrian bridge here. It's failing and it doesn't meet the height standards for federal bridges. And this is a ramp that pedestrians can walk up, and then there's part of this trolley trail that's connected to it. DDOT has this $13 million investment they're putting in here, and some aspects of the plan are fairly contentious. So this would be the facing end that our constituents saw when they entered this project. So you can see here, we are doing 3 phases. Right now, I'm showing you phase 1. DDOT did a presentation to the neighborhood, what their plans were at 65%. We recorded the virtual meeting, which has a link here. The slide deck presentation is here. We also have a PDF slide deck presentation that people can open up right here, right in the platform. And then we ended up breaking down the project into 5 aspects where we wanted to collect community input, sorry. They're doing some new sidewalks. We wanted to ask about the bridge replacement and the ramp itself. They wanted to put in a pedestrian crossing hawk signal. And then they gave us 2 options for the surface of the trail. One was to keep it natural, and the other one was to cover it with asphalt. And then DDOT had their own survey, which I embedded into this. And in this particular project, these ideas here I created, but the software also lets people input their own ideas. So let's say you had some NPS land and they were going to give it back to the community, and you wanted to take ideas on what you could use that land for. You could also use this software to collect other people's ideas, and then people can comment on those ideas. I'm going to go to the pedestrian hawk signal because this was something that every single person who commented on this site, which I think was 17 direct comments and then some reactions, nobody wants the hawk signal. They want DDOT to build 2 ramps, 1 on each side. DDOT is saying they only have money to do a ramp on one side, so they want to do a hawk signal across one of our busiest streets in Palisades. So this was one that there was a fairly good back and forth discussion, and this was an aspect that everybody agreed on. The next phase I'm going to go back. The next phase that's going to come up is I should tell you this. In the middle of our project, DDOT came and said, we can't do a no improvements part because as soon as we start making improvements, the ADA lawyers told them that they have to improve the trail. So I was able to post this notice here that basically shut down this aspect of the comments. It was really good because when people register for the site, they can sign up for notifications. Whereas the listserv, people have to constantly go back and check and read through a whole bunch of things. But when I posted this, everyone who had engaged with the site, who signed up for the notifications, immediately got this. And we found that people were like, okay, this is direct communication that is taking it off the listserv. So our second phase, and this is where I'm going to show you the back end, you can see we don't have anything here yet. So on the 22nd of February, DDOT is coming back to our neighborhood and doing a presentation. It's virtual, so we'll have it recorded. We'll have their slide deck. And because I am an admin, I have this button up here that says Edit Project. So I can click on this, and now we're in the back side of the platform where I would set this up. So when I go to pedestrian bridge and trail information and comments, I'm going to go to setup, and I won't spend a ton of time, but I think this page is important. These are all the things that the platform can do. Collect input and feedback in public. You can do proposals, petitions, and initiatives. Create a survey. This tile here is probably the second most thing that we've done. You can create surveys on this also. Conducting a voting or prioritization exercise. I can see us using this. And then share information is always great. Our third phase of the project is when we share information. So you can do that by sharing the results of a survey. In this instance, we're going to be sharing the final plans that DDOT has for this particular project. And then you can also use it for volunteers. There are a ton of other menu items here. One of the things I can tell you is that when you get into the surveys and into comments, you can make them anonymous, you can make them public. Our ANC, we decided collectively that we were going to make everything public. Like you register for the site, your name is going to be posted for comments that you make. But I can see in some instances where you might want to make it anonymous, and it's something that you can decide as a commission. But like I said, I could go on for an hour, but I'm going to stop sharing. And if anyone has any questions, I would be like more than happy. Peter?
Let me just point out two things that Tricia has said, two characteristics of this. Beyond the ability to do surveys, and I'm sure she'll be asked questions about whether people can respond to survey questions anonymously and their anonymity be protected, and the answer is yes. You'll see that that this engagement package allows for a sort of real-time back and forth with residents. So if you take the issue of the trail, what the trail in the Arizona project might be made of, presumably you could ask people, okay, DDOT says we have to make improvements. Well, could you make a semi-permanent permeable surface instead of pavement? I mean, people can come up with suggestions. Bruce wrote an email to fellow commissioners asking a lot of questions, and one I suggested that might be a quick interaction was the mountain next to his house on Nebraska. Post those incredible photos from last night of the parade of bobcats creating it, and ask people, where do we put it? Where else do we put it? How can we, so it is more than surveys. I mean, so as you consider this, fellow commissioners, think of it as something quite a bit richer than SurveyMonkey. Thanks.
I would also like to add that DDOT knew we were doing this. and they were reading the comments too. And part of our issue with our trolley trail is the stormwater runoff. We're right near the river. So there is just massive amounts of water. And the bigger our home footprints are getting, like the more water we are having come through our culverts. And there was such a disaster at one end of the very, very tip of Chambridge where a culvert had collapsed. And based on our comments, DDOT ended up incorporating some of that drainage stuff for that particular area into the plans. They were reading every comment, they were reading the back and forth. And I think that our right of way there for the trail is so wide. I think what DDOT heard was we have to pave it, but people also like the natural aspect to walk their dogs. So we are expecting them to come back with like an offset trail or some portion of it to be kept as a soft surface as they consider the draining. And so we were seeing this as a really positive thing, and DDOT absolutely loved it.
Commissioner Goslin, and I don't have the raise hand function for some reason on my screen. So I'll just kind of interject if you don't mind. Tricia, thanks for being here. I really appreciate your taking the time to join us. I've seen the Go Vocal platform before. We talked about it last year. I was in initial orientation and I spent about 45 minutes with Go Vocal reps on Friday asking some further questions. I'd be interested in your own experience. You're the admin person for your commission.
I would say for my commission that I have created every project and every survey, and then other people have spent the time reviewing what I've done and making comments. But I am also a commissioner that has a lot of time, and
Okay.
I'm interested in doing it, and I'm pretty good with computers. So, uh, yeah, I would say I take the lead, but if another commissioner wanted to do it, they could.
So I'd ask you about how many hours a week or thereabouts you spend on it, because administering the system is obviously something that we need to be mindful of in terms of the time it's going to take somebody to do it. Think about that. But then I want to ask you another question quickly, which is, um, what do you require from your residents to establish an account to register on GoVocal?
This is a very important question because all of the ANCs are getting a discount through Go Vocal. We all have the same registration for our constituents, and we're literally part of the same platform. So I could show you how it goes, but essentially, when someone goes to the site for the first time, there's a little button that says sign up, and you click the button, and it asks you for an email. And then it sends you a verification code. So you're not going to get any bots involved at all. And I think you have to agree to terms and service or whatever. This site, by the way, does not do any spamming. They don't sell your information, which is great. And then your constituent that signs up is going to be asked what ANC they are a part of. And we have listed there the neighborhoods, but there's also a button that says locate your ANC, which takes you to the OANC website. So people could actually find out who their ANC commissioner is, but they don't have to sign up per SMD. They would sign up as 34G. So what we do with our surveys that we have, we can see who within our ANC is responding to our surveys. Like we did a survey on what our constituents thought about the Commanders stadium deal. And we had some people outside of our boundaries respond, but we could see how many of those people were outside of our thing. And if you wanted to do one just within your SMD, you would have to ask that question in your survey. You're not going to be able, you would filter that through your individual survey.
Mm-hmm. How many of your constituents are currently registered?
We have the most. We have a few hundred. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
I'm more interested when a project comes on, how many people are engaging with the thing. Like if I saw on a typical argument about the trail on our listserv, we might get maybe 15 or 20 people engaging with that post because it's so volatile. We might get more like 80 to 100 engaging with it on the Go Vocal.
Mhm.
Could I just address one thing in answering Bruce's question? While 3D turns out to turn to Trisha to be the guru of Go Vocal, I think we have 3 seats for administrators for each of the ANCs. So Bruce, you might get a seat. I might get a seat. Somebody else on the commission, Laura, might get a seat. We also, if I understand it correctly, other ANCs share their seats. I mean, so Lisa wants to do a project on something, we turn over the use of the seat to them. So it's not as if there's a single administrator. And given some of the issues among the commissioners in this commission, I think it's important that you understand that we can spread the burden and we can spread the responsibility.
I will also say one of our commissioners is a professional pollster, and he generally writes all of my questions. Or I'll say, this is the information I want. Will you write the questions for me so I get good data?
That's a real asset, right?
It is. It's a real asset. He's also a really nice guy.
I can go ahead and call on folks if you
Yeah,
want.
that would be great, Chairman. Thank you.
Carol Grunewald?
Yes, hi. Thank you so much for coming to our meeting to explain all this. How do you know who is signing up to join Go Vocal? Anyone can just click a box and say they're from SMD such and such. How do you know that these are not people just who care very much about a subject and who are basically advocates from elsewhere in the city, signing up to comment on something that's important to them that is actually occurring in your community?
So that is, it's been a while since I signed up. We may ask for people's addresses. In fact, while we're sitting here, I may put in an email address and see if I can figure that out. We may ask for addresses, but one of the things that we have found is that when you first sign up, as you're going through the sign up, I'm not sure people are going to know to fake it. And once they click that they don't live in any of these neighborhoods and they're not there, like that's it. Could someone, juice it? Yeah, but we have not found, even with our most contentious things, that like any data is being skewed. And the nice thing about having the conversation back and forth, we don't make any of our stuff anonymous. So people, your name is there. But I mean, I guess there's a slight risk to it.
Carol, can I just point out that when you go in, you have to say which you have to choose an SMD. Is that correct? You have to choose.
ANC. It's not down to the SMD level.
So people lie, but that's true of surveys too.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find about Go Vocal. But so when you have an extremely contentious issue, how do you decide? And you have, let's say, a division within your ANC. Who gets to write the questions for the Go Vocal survey, for example?
That is a great question, and we circulate the survey to all of our commissioners before they are published. And people are allowed to flag and say, I think this is biased one way or another. And our commissioners work together to make it as neutral as possible. Because ideally, people on both sides of the issue agree to the phrasing of the question. That would be ideal.
Yeah, because in our experience, we've had great difficulty writing a whole ANC, a whole ANC surveys on very contentious issues. So I'm just wondering how that would happen in Go Vocal. And also, how easy is this to use? I'm worried about seniors being able to adapt to new technology.
Oh,
We have a lot of seniors in Chevy Chase.
we do too. I represent Spring Valley, so yeah, definitely. Um, it's pretty easy. One of the things that we have found is surveys work well on your phone, and it's just like any survey you take, you scroll through. When we did the thing with all of the DDOT plans, we actually recommended people did it on a tablet, a laptop, or a desktop to see it. But in terms of the interface, it's pretty easy.
Do you know the demographic that is using GoVocal? Have you ever asked how old the participants are? It would just be interesting to know whether they all skew young or.
I know that someone said they were 98 years old, and he was talking about how he likes to walk on the trail. So,
Mhm.
we had
Well,
a
you got one.
98-year-old
That's
do
good.
it.
Okay.
It's keeping
Thank
them
you.
young.
I would not say, I would say it's like who's active in all of our communities, the 45 plus. I mean, so, like there's definitely some young people, but we're getting
Right.
everybody.
Thank you.
Is this a different number of responses than you normally see and turnout in your meetings?
Yes, we have actually, um, we we don't get a ton of people turning out to our meetings unless it's contentious. And I would say that there's more people engaging with the platform that come to our meetings.
And do you get like positive feedback unsolicited about this? What's been the response of constituents?
Yeah, well, I do know that when I was first learning the project, I had updated it on the back end and didn't realize that because it was still published, that every single person who wanted a notification was going to get this change that I made that I wasn't necessarily ready for. And I got tons of feedback like, "Oh, what's the next thing that's happening? What's the next thing that's happening?" So yeah, I found that people were excited about it. Especially the people who engaged with it who don't like the listserv. There's some people in our neighborhood who don't like the listserv because all of the free for pickup and the stuff for sale. And there's some people who don't like um, having to go look at the 32 messages of people yelling at each other. And I think that they found this much more civil and targeted.
Peter?
Yeah, let me ask a couple of questions on behalf of the other commissioners about surveys. Now, you said that to get into the system, you have to register. So the system has your name and email and what ANC you're in. Now, Commissioner Duncan is doing a survey, and let's say I live in your ANC and I want to take the survey, but I don't want to have my name and email attached to it. Can survey takers be anonymized?
You have to, in order to engage and interact, you have to be registered. But I'm just going to show you what it tells us here because so this is my project and phase 3 is share results. And I'm in the setup mode here. And I have well, let's move it to, I can move it back because I haven't collected any data. We're going to do create a survey. And then, oh shoot, this isn't, let's see. Um,
While you're doing this, Tricia, let
okay.
me ask, I don't care whether I'm anonymous coming into the site. What I care about is that my answers are combined with others and they're anonymous. I mean, so
Okay, if you can see here, this toggle switch you're going to see on a lot of stuff. Users will be able to hide their identity from other users, project managers, and admins. These contributions can still be moderated. That's another thing that's nice about this. We decided as a commission when we were taking the comments that it was going to be unmoderated, but I also got the notifications as soon as someone posted something, I was able to read it. And we found that people were so respectful on this site. And but you could make it so someone reads it before anything gets posted.
That was my other question about, because to Bruce's point, I mean, one could imagine this being a full-time job. And we do have social media in this community that's unmoderated, and it gets pretty feisty sometimes. So you're notified, and you can look, and you know when an issue is hot and might produce um, um, emails that wouldn't be appropriate or comments that wouldn't be appropriate. Is that right?
We didn't have any, but you can delete um, comments that you deem inappropriate. They also have, if someone comments on an idea, they can also have like a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And we turned off the thumbs down. We only wanted to see what people supported. But you can also have people who think like something's a terrible idea. Just a thumbs down. That alone gets a lot of people just like, I'm just telling people I don't like this and I don't have to type anything out.
Carol,
Thank you.
I forgot that I was moderating this. So yeah, please, Commissioner Grunwald.
Oh, I guess the only other thing I wanted to say, and this is just, you've been very helpful. Thank you. Um, I have emails for over 500 families in my SMD, and I know who they are. When I send out a survey to my people, I can visualize their faces in my mind. I know exactly who the survey is going to, and they send me anonymous results back. And I noticed that on the example you used, you got only 17 comments on that proposal, parts of which were rather contentious, you said. And I can get more responses going directly to my email list. So I'm just wondering why I would use Go Vocal. This is not a criticism of you in any way. I'm just talking about
Oh,
the platform.
well, we used to use SurveyMonkey, and you all obviously, I think it sounds like you put out more surveys, but this is to me, a survey is not community members engaging with community members. That would be like the biggest difference, is that people can see other people's posts and engage with it, even if it's like, I like what you said, I don't like what you said. Um, I like this idea. I like your comment on this was valuable to me, so I'm going to give you a thumbs up. It's different than a survey, is all I could say.
Okay, so what you're saying is it's more like a listserv, and so it would be the fourth. If we go with this, it will be the fourth listserv in our tiny community. We have the Chevy Chase listserv, we have Chevy Chase Chatter, we have Chevy Chase Google Group, and this would be the fourth listserv. So, okay, well, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. We have two constituents who have their hands up. Cal?
Hi there. As a longtime survey designer, I'm with you. My comments are not in favor or against Go Vocals per se. I haven't used it, but I will say that I don't consider this a listserv. I think that community forums are different than listservs, and that's what you're talking about here, when people actually interact with each other. Um, and you keep the threaded conversations like that organized in such a way on the web page. So it's a different, slightly different medium than just a plain old listserv where people are just posting comments, which I see as sort of the online version of people standing up to a microphone. That's not the same, not the same. Um, the question I have is, so we have, and just I'm going back to surveys again. We have surveys that are put out, not that often, but every once in a while by the whole ANC, this whole ANC. And then we have lots of little surveys that individual commissioners put out to their SMDs. Is there a way to determine who can fill out, like who's in that SMD so that they can just target their surveys at their SMD and not at the general ANC altogether? Some do, some want to, and some don't. So,
I mean, to me, to get around that, the individual survey person would, say, what SMD you are in, but we find over in our neck of the woods, people don't know what SMD they're in. They know what
yeah,
ANC
there's
they're in, maybe.
yeah, the I would say the commissioners are very focused on folks from their SMD as their primary thing, and then secondarily to the larger ANC, and then tertiarily to beyond our ANC.
We also, we all know OANC doesn't give us like emails of all of our constituents. Like they're like babysitters. They're not helpful at all, in my opinion.
No, the commissioners have had to go out and build their own lists.
Yeah.
Could
Okay,
I
thank
just
you.
could I just I hope Carol heard Cal's comment about characterizing this as merely a listserv. And to your point, Carol, about your list, nobody says that you can't, I mean, nobody forces you to use this. You can go to your list and only your list. I think one of the things that I hope this would encourage over time is us to do things, even if we do it pointed at our SMDs as a commission. I think that I'm concerned that where we're headed, if we keep doing SMD um, uh, surveys or surveys that are not on a platform we're all using, we're going to end up with a survey arms race. I think that it balkanizes us and means that, well, my numbers show this, well, my SMD shows that, and that is not a useful way to run a neighborhood commission, in my view.
Thank you. We're getting a little short on time, but I want to make sure we get the folks who've had their hands up and some new folks. Commissioner Nagy.
Yeah, thank you. I'd just like to respond to Commissioner Gosselin's remark about balkanizing the commission and say that I really disagree. I do surveys, and I don't think I say in the tone that I think you were using, well, this is what my numbers show, not, what do your numbers show? I'm happy to share any results I have on the surveys that I've done with the entire commission. I think I've done that. I don't think that the question of balkanizing relates to the platform. I think it relates to a state of mind. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Commissioner Nagy. Commissioner Grunwald, I'm going to go to Michelle Wallen, who hasn't spoken yet, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, Michelle Wallen.
Oops.
Michelle, you're on mute.
Michelle, are you there?
I have a few, one question. I have like three things to say. I'll try to be quick. First, with respect to being able to keep people anonymous in a survey, but just let me understand, that would still be among the group of registered users, right? So it would be people that you have their address, you have their email. Okay, that's good. Because we do have some very controversial issues in our community, and there are advocacy groups all over the city that, weigh in heavily. Two other things, with respect to older people, I have no doubt there are 98-year-olds who are good with this, but what I have found, and I guess I'm an older person too, but people even older than me, some are just fine with technology, some really aren't good with it. So I think asking them to to have yet another screen to look at, another electronic thing to look at. And I know even just for myself, I'm on the listserv. I'm not on Chevy Chase Chatter because I don't want to have yet another thing I have to follow. So this is a little tricky. I mean, I would hope the idea, if the ANC does go with this, is that you would still maintain your communications for the other forums, which we seem to have quite a few of. And then the other thing I just want to say, we have seen, as I said, we have a lot of controversial issues. We have, and I have seen discussions in other chats, particularly the Cleveland Park ANC years ago when they were first discussing the comp plan. I attended that meeting. I didn't speak, so I'm like, I don't live there. But the chat was brutal. It was clear that, there were a lot of people there who wanted, as much density as possible. And anytime someone spoke, the chat would just attack them. So I am a little concerned, no matter what one thinks about the listserv, our listserv moderator does moderate, and she does keep out uncivil comments. And I know in the Cleveland Park listserv, that moderator does that too. Some people don't like it, but it at least keeps some degree of civility. So that would just be one thing I think we'd need to watch out for. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm going to, Commissioner Nagy, if you can be brief, and then I think we'll go see back to Commissioner Gosselin to wrap up.
Yeah, actually, there are a couple of comments in the chat that I wanted to mention. They're sort of on the same in the same vein. If an ANC, it's from Brian Heilman, if an ANC area is 15,000 DC residents, how will the Go Vocal tool facilitate more asynchronous engagement? Fewer than 50 comments seems small. Can the ANC distinguish between ANC residents and non-DC residents / advocacy organizations in the tool? And I'll read, the second one is pretty much on the same topic. Any survey or discussion group that does not openly distinguish between 3-4G residents and others is pointless, and that came from Chevy Chase Voice. So if somebody would like to tackle that question, maybe Trisha, would you mind?
So,
How do you distinguish?
When people register, they can register as being out of the area. But when you start analyzing your data, you can just filter those people out. And certainly, I know these people who are in these advocacy groups because they are on our listservs and they respond to our things also. If they're actually your constituents, like they also have an equal say, whether they're with an advocacy group or not, is sort of our feeling. Maybe it's because this is new. We just we've had less of a problem on this platform than we have on our community listserv and other SurveyMonkey surveys with people outside our community using it.
I think that
I just
Peter,
added.
can I just finish with this for just a second, please? I don't think the question meant to imply that residents who are members of advocacy organizations shouldn't be able to use the tool. And it specifically said non-DC residents advocacy organizations. Obviously, if one of your constituents is a member of an advocacy organization, they deserve to be heard just like every other constituent. Like, I just wanted to clarify that. Thanks, Peter.
Okay. Well, I suggest that we wrap this up with immense thanks to Commissioner Duncan for coming and for.
You're welcome.
I move that we approve an extension, a contract extension with Go Vocal, and authorize the payment of the $2,100 contribution to the ANC consortium that we're part of now and that I hope we'll stay part of. Do I have a second? Discussion? Then let's.
Oh, Commissioner Gore, did you have a question?
Yes. So I'm supportive of this, and Commissioner Gosselin, thank you for the work that you've done with the commission in advocating for the use of this platform. This isn't the first time that this ANC has heard about Go Vocal. We've discussed it before, and we've tried to get the commission to use it before. It wasn't received very well, but I think Commissioner Duncan, your presentation was excellent and talked about some of the highs and lows that Go Vocal has with it. There's not a lot of drawbacks. I've been involved in the platform, going to the meetings along with Commissioner Gosselin and Commissioner Sherman. And this is definitely not a listserv, and it's definitely far superior than a survey. The whole design and purpose of Go Vocal is broader community engagement. It's not just to put a survey down and get a response, but it's actually to have discussions amongst yourselves with your constituents in a structured format that allows you to draw data based on those conversations, which you cannot get from a listserv. You can't get data. So I think that's one of the biggest differences that we need to keep in mind. And also just keeping in mind some of the historical conversations. We just had a conversation with this commission, I think the meeting before last, where we talked about, and some folks felt that certain commissioners were not engaging, which could not be further for the truth. This is the best engagement platform that we are going to get. Several ANCs across the city are using it and using it successfully. And the longer we use it, the more we use it, the more we get comfortable using it. And I think Commissioner Gosselin hit the nail on the head. The more we're going to get comfortable working together and trying to come up with something that's, agreeable to all of us as a commission, even though we have people on different sides. And most of our issues are not contentious. So in SMD 01, I have two major projects that I want to use Go Vocal for. One of them is the Oregon Avenue, Chestnut Street Transportation Safety Project. And then the other big project that we're getting ready to hit is the Pinehurst Tributary Redevelopment Project. And Go Vocal would be excellent for me to post information, post what's happening in one phase versus the other phase, and get engagement and feedback to my constituents. So thank you again, Commissioner Gosselin. Thank you again, Commissioner Duncan, for bringing this platform back to our ANC. And I look forward to voting for yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gore. I see Commissioner Grunewald.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. Yeah. I just wanted to say that I'm an old-fashioned kind of gal, and I have a lot of older people in my SMD, and I just feel so much more comfortable doing things the old-fashioned way. I find that I'm very close to the people I represent. My neighbors respond to postcards in their door and knocks on their door, and that's I like to keep things up close and personal with my folks, and they appreciate that. And I just think I'm going to get a better understanding of what the people in my SMD want me to do by continuing the way I'm continuing. So that's how I feel about it. Thank you.
I don't have the raised hand function, Commissioner Fennessy, unfortunately. So
Use your hand.
that's what I'm doing.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm gung-ho engagement, gung-ho surveys, as I think everybody knows. I think the Go Vocal platform is very powerful. My issue is not the platform, it's our program. And I'd like to get to a place where I could support Go Vocal if we as a commission have thought through how we're going to administer it, not just with respect to what Commissioner Gore just mentioned, which I think is an ideal use of Go Vocal. You've got a discrete project, you put up the visuals, you ask people to comment on it, and it's a very good case study. But we know that we have lots of other uses for a platform like this, lots of other survey work that we can be doing. And I think we need to think through how much time it's going to take, who's going to be primarily doing this, what our protocols and policies are for managing, moderating conversations. And I think we need to get clear on those things in our program before we approve the platform. Let me note that I looked back last year and we paid for the annual fee to use GoVocal in April. Peter, when is the deadline to resubscribe? Is it April? When would it be?
No, it's next week. It's February 23rd. The current contract runs out.
Okay. So if we took extra time to think about how are going to manage this, who's going to be doing it, um, and move through those issues, we then could come back to this in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, a month, and we could renew the contract then, right? It's not as though it's now or never. Am I correct?
No, you're not correct. I mean, but the contract runs out in 10 days, 12 days.
So if it runs out, then we renew it after it runs out. I'm just trying to ask the question.
Well, I mean, what happens in the meantime is the consortium that has put this together is going to, I guess, make up we're going to lean on them to pay the bill. I mean, and Commissioner Duncan, did you want to add to that?
I just wanted to say, and I wish Commissioner Elkins was here because he's our point person for the actual contracting. But I think it's like health insurance. There's an enrollment window because they want to onboard all of the ANCs who are going to participate at the same time in order to get the discount. This is actually a hugely discounted rate. So I do think that Commissioner Goslin is right that you have to decide now or you won't be able to get it at this price.
And I would like to move that we consider this question because we need to get the Murray folks. I see that they've been on, and I know we didn't need as much time, but I'd like to respect their time. Would it be possible to take a vote on this?
Fine with me. I would say to Bruce, why don't we sign up for it and then we can work on a program? I mean, we know from all of our experience with surveys kind of what we're going to need to agree to. So I would advocate that we vote to extend the contract and to pay the bill. And I'm happy to meet with you, and I'm happy that if we as a commission meet and work out, as you call it, the program.
Commissioner Gore?
Yeah, I was just actually going to say the same thing as Commissioner Goslin. I mean, working out the logistics is not a deal breaker here. We only have certain commissioners that are going to want to get in there and do the admin work. It's not going to be everybody. I do not mind being the admin on my particular projects. If somebody is a better admin than me, I don't mind somebody else being an admin on my projects. But I think that is not, I think that's the least of our worries. We can work out that logistical stuff at a later point. And we have a commission, we have several commissions across the city that are doing this and are doing this successfully. So we can even meet with those commissions like Commissioner Duncan, Commissioner Elkins, and Paula Edwards and 4C and adopt the policies and procedures that they're already using and implementing, which seem to be working successfully.
Can I just add one quick thing on that? We in our commission have had deep experience in doing ANC-wide surveys. And I will differ in discussing this in terms of talking about the logistics as being something that's not that difficult to work out. I've been deeply involved in both of the survey experiences. And I think the lessons learned from those indicate that there are very serious issues that we should be thinking about on the program side. It's not a simple matter to get a survey done. We know it's taken us months to do surveys. They've been very contentious, and the quality controls around those have been very problematic. And these are things that we have not ourselves as a commission sorted through, analyzed, understood, and said, okay, how are we going to do this going forward? We can do this now and figure it out as we go. I'm just here to say that there's a lot to this that we're not talking about in terms of how we're going to administer it. It's much more complicated than we're letting on, in my experience.
But Bruce, and in the meantime, it can do all the other things that, I mean, Lisa's two projects. I mean, I mean,
You took the words out of my mouth.
yes, it's complicated to do surveys. We've known that. It's not going to get any less complicated if we do go vocal and use the good stuff and easy stuff first.
Okay, let me have Commissioner Grunwald, and then I think we need to.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Grunwald.
Yeah, my last point is I've thought this through pretty carefully, and this is going to be twice the work for me because of the number of seniors I have in my SMD. I'm going to have to do things the good old-fashioned way, and I'm going to have to go vocal, and that's a lot.
Thank you.
Peter always is so mystified whenever I say anything.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I have a lot of seniors in my district, and they don't respond to online stuff. They just don't. That's my experience, and so I'm going to have to do things the good old-fashioned way with them, and I'm going to have to do the newfangled thing with everyone else. So it's going to be double the work for me. I really enjoy meeting with my neighbors and meeting them face to face and delivering things to their door and knocking on their door. And that's the way I prefer to work. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Sim-
I move the
Can we
question.
please take the vote?
Yes. I move the question. Could we take a vote?
Yes, I hear a motion to move the previous question to take a vote. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, all those, so the motion is to purchase a
Extend
year's,
the go vocal contract and pay the 2,100 odd bill for 2026.
okay, and that would run through calendar year 2026?
I think it probably runs from February 23rd through February 23rd of 2027. I mean, it's just a contract extension, and our contract expires.
So you move for a 1-year contract extension at a cost of $2,100. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Well, you ought to take a raise hand, yeah.
All right, so we have Corinthia, Laura, Peter, Lisa. Okay, that's 2. All those opposed? Please raise your hand or say nay. All those abstaining? Okay, so we have 3 abstentions. Okay, so the motion to extend the 1-year contract on Go Vocal passes. Now I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Sherman, and I really want to apologize to the folks from Array and Friends of the Field. This was an important discussion, and I think we didn't dilly-dally, but we are running a little late. So thank you, and Commissioner Sherman.
All right, this will be, I think, relatively quick, maybe even under the 15 minutes that we've reduced it to. I want to introduce John Axelrod, who's counsel for Friends of the Field, and Trey Holloway, who's associate director of head of school at Murray. Trey, if you can come on camera, that would be great. Hi, Trey, and hi, John. I've talked to both Trey and John in advance. I've asked them to represent from their respective sides this agreement that they've been negotiating, a community service agreement that would govern operations of the new Barrett Fields on Nebraska Avenue for the foreseeable future. So I'd like to just to turn it over to them to have a few words from each side, and then let commissioners and community members have questions. So Trey, why don't we start with the Murray side?
Sure. Can you all hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. Good evening, everybody. We, Murray, have been meeting with representatives from Friends of the Field going back into the fall to work on coming to an accord about a few items as we head into a zoning hearing later this month, looking to get some additional zoning relief for some walls that we built out at the fields that were not in compliance with the zoning regs. So we've had a series of meetings where we've touched on a number of topics as it related to the wall height, planting screening, privacy, field operations, and have had a series of good discussions. It's been a great opportunity for both sides to get together and hash things out. I think one of the important things for us was trying to establish a level of relations that is indicative of Murray being neighbors with some folks that are right next to the field for the foreseeable future. I know it was a long, drawn out, oftentimes contentious process that went through. So I think just as important as reaching an agreement was trying to find neighborly common ground for the future. So that was just really important, I think, to both sides. And we've done a lot of hard work on that that I think both of our groups are proud of. We are hopeful that we'll have an agreement that we can put in front of you all that you'll be able to see and take a look at. From my perspective, and John will speak as well, I think it really honors the intention and kind of letter of the law with the original MOU that Murray signed onto with the ANC back in 2022. It does a lot of good things with some added protections for particularly for neighbors that are close in, while also preserving the broad things that the community was really invested in as it related to neighborhood use. So we think that that's a good thing. I think that's probably all I have to say on that front. I can give it to John for anything he might want to add.
Thank you, Trey. John, go ahead.
Well, I would just add a couple of points. First, I'm happy to say we have tentative agreement. The result of that agreement will enable us to support Murray's application for special exceptions when we go to the BZA hearing now scheduled for February 25th. Many of the points in our community service agreement track items that were in the MOU, which was previously endorsed by the ANC, and were in the BZA order, which at least for now remains in effect. We're asking to mention the ANC in several aspects. First, the MOU requires Murray to provide certain reports of their activities, and we assume that you want those reports, you still want those reports, and we've adopted the provisions requiring Murray to submit the reports to the ANC. And second, Murray has agreed to ask the ANC to join in a request to the BZA to vacate the MOU so that the community service agreement becomes the binding agreement between Murray and Friends of the Field. The ANC, of course, is a party to the proceeding at the BZA and is not required to agree to ask for the vacation of the MOU. We do hope that the ANC will endorse the community service agreement that we hope to have finished, and if not finished, certainly circulated by the 16th of February, so that you'll have it a week before the February 23rd hearing, at which point we would be ready to discuss the pros and cons of the agreement and answer any questions you have concerning specific portions of the agreement. We do have one agreement that we will not discuss the terms of the agreement until there is a final agreement. So we can't discuss what's in the agreement beyond what I've said.
Great, John. Thank you. I want to talk a timeline, but before we do that, I'd like to go to commissioners for questions or comments to Trey and John.
I have a question. I know that many of the neighbors have, significant concerns about the project. Would they be able to see this as well as the ANC before we take a vote on it on the 23rd? Are you going to ask us to keep it among ourselves, or is that going to be something public to the neighborhood?
Our plan, and I hope Trey agrees, is to give it to you. You can circulate it anyway to as many people as you want.
Thank you.
Agreed. Yep.
Commissioner Gore.
Yeah, that was also my question. I just want to make sure that, there is many people in the neighborhood can comment on this plan that can possibly comment on it. Like I think about the group that did the petition on the field hours, like in 72 hours, there are like 800 responses. What has been the outreach to maybe members of that cohort and other folks in the community? I know it's just been Friends of the Field and Murray, but I just want to make sure that this is broad engagement.
We have not reached out beyond the members of Friends of the Field. We had members sign up with us at the beginning, I guess almost 4 years ago. We had people who contributed when we needed to raise money to hire a lawyer, and those are the people we've reached out to.
And I would say, I would add that
I should add that several ANC meetings ago, we provided my email address and the email address of Friends of the Field and said that we would consider anything anyone had to say, and we got no responses.
and I would add that we think that the things that we are reaching our agreement on are I don't want to misrepresent. I want to be careful what I say. They are narrow enough that it feels appropriate for this discussion to be happening with the parties in which it has happened. As I said, it is something that was occurring between two private parties, and we have tried very hard to steer clear of things of changing or updating things that would be broad, impacting the broad community. So we've had some push pull around that and reached good accord.
Commissioner Simmons.
Yes, I wanted a little bit more clarity around submitting reports to the ANC, but the ANC doesn't have to provide any input on it. I was just wondering, why would we receive something of which we have no decision authority or? Yeah.
Can I take that? I'll just say that, and there may be an ANC commissioner. It's not uncommon for an entity like a Murray to provide reports early on in its after a project like this, or have some sort of regular ongoing engagement. That was a part of our original MOU agreement with the ANC, and it is a part of this next version, this community services agreement as well. So it's not unusual for that. It's not unusual for Murray to do it. We feel comfortable with it and engaging. If the ANC says we'll take your written report and kind of file it away, we're fine with that. But we feel really comfortable with it and are familiar with doing it for the ANC in Woodley Park that we work with.
And the one thing I would add is that the ANC negotiated with Murray to receive these. If you don't want it, I'm sure we could agree to take that part out.
Commissioner Gosselin.
I just suggest that to Commissioner Simmons, I mean, if for no other reason, then we can publicize it. I mean, we basically serve the engagement function. We might even use Go Vocal. I mean, it serves an engagement function with the community.
Commissioner Simmons, did that answer your question, though?
Yeah.
Great. Any members of the community, other commissioners who have any questions or comments? Let me just touch on quickly the timeline. We've already kind of addressed it. The hearing at the BZA is February 25th. Our next meeting is February 23rd. 7 days before that is February 16th. So we're discussing having an agreement either signed in draft or certainly in draft that we can circulate and all of us can see on February 16th. Trey and John, does that square with your understanding and what we can expect?
That's our hope, certainly.
Okay, fantastic. Commissioners, do you have any apprehensions about the timeline? And then once we discuss this, I want to mention quickly what I'm going to propose we do once we get the draft. Any concerns about the timeline?
I think February 16th gives us ample time before February 23rd meeting.
Okay, that does address questions Commissioners Gore and Simmons have had about socializing this with the broader community. We want to make sure that we get it out to everyone so they can see it. It is the case that it is an agreement between two private parties, which is to say that if members of the community come forward to us and say, we have concerns that are not being addressed by the agreement, it would then be to the commission to determine if we would want to submit something additionally to the BZA that would take into account those separate and additional community concerns. So that's something we would take up and look at once we see what the agreement is, and then we hear from the community. I would anticipate once we see the agreement, if we're comfortable with it, that we would approve a resolution in support of the agreement and then in support of Murray's application to the BZA currently, which is to have the fields as built be approved by the BZA. That would then enable Murray to receive their permanent certificate of occupancy, since currently they're operating only under provisional one. Does that all make sense to everybody? Commissioner Fennessy.
And a question from the chat. Does the Murray or Friends of the Field have any issue getting it to us on the 16th, with that being a holiday? A federal holiday?
Well, no, the holiday will not stop us from providing the information.
I believe Mary Callahan has her hand up. Mary, go ahead. You're on mute, Mary.
Yeah. I'm not sure I'm clear. When will members of the public see the terms of the agreement?
February 16th.
Okay. And how is that going to be transmitted?
Via our website, listserv, public, we'll publicize it broadly so that everybody has an opportunity. Just as a meeting document, we get that on all the platforms.
One more question. Can we also tune in to the BZA hearing?
Yeah, of course. It's a public hearing.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, sure.
I should say that it starts at 9:30. I don't know where on the agenda we will be.
Great.
Okay, thanks.
I know we're pressed for time. Does that cover everything we think we need to cover for now? Commissioners, are we okay for the moment? John, Trey, anything else you'd want to mention to us?
No.
Okay, great. Well, thank you both for coming. We look forward to getting the draft.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep. Commissioner
Thank you,
Fennessy,
Commissioner Sherman. Yeah, and now I'm going to back at you. We had snow removal. This was quite a last 2 weeks. I don't know about everybody else, but I am exhausted and sore. But you were going to talk about the snow removal feedback resolution and testimony.
Right, right. So everyone has seen the draft resolution. This follows our meeting last time, where we agreed that we would do a letter to the Department of Public Works, which we did the very next day and submitted that, expressing our initial concerns with the actual experience of the aftermath of the storm and all of the difficulties that we have all witnessed. We've packaged a resolution that rolls up additional concerns. I won't discuss it with you in great detail, other than for the benefit of the public, simply identify what we're asking the city to do. We're asking the city to consider a policy that would have all of our residential side streets, not major arterials, not major secondary roads, but when the plows finally get to our side streets, that they service all of them at least once before they do other streets 2 or 3 times. And that lack of equity resulted in severe unevenness, as we all experienced across the neighborhood over the last couple of weeks. We also asked that the Department of Public Works fix the problems with its snow plow tracking system, which led to a lot of erroneous reports about areas that have been covered when they had not been covered. We're asking also that the city clarify responsibility for who clears pedestrian areas such as bus stops and curb cuts, crosswalks that, as we all know, were not cleared as quickly even as some of the streets, which took quite some time. We're asking that there be a new category at the DC 311 service for plowing, because right now you go there, you can't specifically request that a street be plowed and identify that. We're commending and asking that there be continued coordination, cooperation with DPW, Department of Public Works, the mayor's office, the mayor's reps were very helpful, extremely helpful. And again, a kudos shout out to both Kendall Gibson and Owen Cox and their colleagues who were omnipresent, taking calls from commissioners right and left, as well as members of the public. That kind of coordination was super important to troubleshoot problem areas. And then we're asking DPW to give us a written response, identifying what they've done with regard to our requests. So that's what the resolution asks for. I move that we approve it, and I appreciate the amendments that commissioners have provided to me, Commissioner Gore and Commissioner Fennessy. So I move that we approve it. Do I have a second? Great. I see that Cal had your hand up. So we've moved for discussion. Cal, go ahead.
So it's just a consistency thing under the whereas point where you have 3 bullets. The last one that you added was the one about the clarity to agency responsibility, and you list some examples. But down in the therefore part where you do that, which is the 3rd bullet point, it's not as clear. It just says clarify responsibility. Can you adjust that so that the 3rd bullet point under the therefore matches the specificity in the whereas section?
We would need some proposed wording, I think.
Okay. Do we need to do that right now, or can we take this as a kind of a technical correction just to align the wording so that I can do this and then honor the sentiment that Cal is expressing, just in the interest of time? Commissioners, is that okay by you? Okay.
As long as the specificity is there and the ultimate one, it doesn't have to be right now.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Happy to do that. So again, I've moved, it's been seconded. Can we see a show of hands in support of the resolution? All right, I think we have 6. Commissioner Simmons, I don't see your hand.
She's yes.
Okay, great. So 7-0, I believe it is. So the resolution passes 7-0. With respect to the testimony, it tracks the resolution, it tracks the letter that we sent to DPW. I have, with respect to the timing of this, tried to keep it to what would be the 4 to 5 minutes that I would have in order to make the speech, if you will, provide the testimony. Any comments on the, yes, please, Commissioner Fennessy first and Commissioner Gore.
Yeah, I've found that lately they've been giving me 3, not 4. You might want to rehearse with that one.
Okay.
But yeah, go ahead, Ms. Commissioner.
I just wanted to bring up something. I guess I can do it after the testimony. I wanted to do it after the last resolution regarding expenditures by the ANC to assist in neighborhood cleanup. So I'll just come back to me after the testimony, but it's regarding snow removal.
Okay. All right. Very good. We'll do that. On this,
could I just ask a quick question, Bruce?
Yeah, go ahead.
Would it be sort of, I mean, given the dimensions of this fiasco of the last 2 weeks, this seems minor, but snow heroes. In advance of this, I went to one of their sessions to receive supplies, and they handed out tea bags of salt. I mean, it was useless. I mean, it was like you would have had to get 45 bags to get to get my walkway. I wonder if we might want to ask that they bulk up that program. Now, I know you've had some good luck with that. I understand you have an electric snowblower. Boy, the stuff they handed out in advance of this was really awful, really useless. I mean, I bought a snowblower, so I took care of problems with that, but I thought real supplies of salt, and I had to pay $100 at the hardware store to supply. Anyways, it's an idea you might consider adding.
Thank you. Okay. Just to let everyone know that once snow hardens, a snowblower is useless. unfortunately. But it was helpful in the very, very beginning when the snow first came down and we could clear the powder. In any event, I move that we accept the testimony that I proposed to give on February 12th before the DC Council Committee on Public Works. Do I have a second?
Second.
Yep. Yes.
Question on discussion before vote.
Yeah. Okay. Commissioner Fennessy. Sorry, Commissioner Gore.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, Commissioner Sherman, that included the friendly amendments that was submitted on the testimony?
The friendly amendment with respect to the pedestrian areas and so forth that you talked about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in there.
Okay. Can you amend your motion to say as amended or to reflect the friendly amendments? I just want to
sure.
make sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I move that we accept the resolution as drafted with the friendly amendment submitted by Commissioner Gore.
Thank you.
I think you mean the testimony. So
I'm sorry, the testimony. My misspoke. So
It's
I
okay.
move that we approve the testimony as written and as amended by Commissioner Gore. Do I have a second on that?
second. Yep,
Okay,
I'll second.
Great. Any further discussion?
I just want to note that I got a message from one of my constituents today that they saw on the mayor's press conference that she said that all trash had been cleared.
Sorry.
And that is,
Sorry.
He also said to look forward to summer.
as my kids used to read Harry Potter and they love Dumbledore, he said that's optimistic to the point of foolishness, but we are just not seeing that reality here. And I was surprised that was passed on. I have not actually watched the press conference to see if that was accurate, but I do intend to find out because it's not. But I want to thank you for your work on the draft and the testimony and getting that together because I think it's very important.
Very good. All right. Well, let's just take a vote. All in favor, please raise your hands or say aye. All right. I believe it is 7-0. So there we are. Thank you guys very much.
All right. And thank you. All right. So now we are at what I had hoped would be the 8:20.
Order. I wanted to add a request or discussion to this. We can either discuss this at this point or maybe move it down to commission business. But I wanted to see the commission's thoughts on if we can get approval from OANC now or in the future to use funds to pay for snow removal for some of our areas, and particularly the pedestrian crosswalks. I live in, obviously SMD 01, border Oregon and Western Avenue, horrible shape. I drove to every bus stop in my SMD, all around Tennyson, anywhere that the bus goes, I went. I did not have one bus stop clear, not a one. The one that eventually got cleared timely was done by one of my constituents that saw the post that I had posted in our Hawthorne chat. So not to belabor that point, but one of the things that caused me to do that is a conversation that we had last year with the chair of our transportation committee, Michaela Platzert, who really, really impressed upon us the pedestrian access issues that we have with snowstorms. So I went out to look at it because I remembered her warning. And with this snowstorm being the snowcrete and having so much ice, if you looked at where our kids had to transverse to get from the sidewalk to the actually on the bus, I was terrified. I mean, it's just, the grace of God, nobody gets hurt. Nobody slips on the ice underneath the bus. I mean, we just don't know in these situations, but our kids were trying to climb over ice shelves to get onto the bus when schools opened back up. They just didn't have a safe avenue to do that. So I would like for the ANC to, and if, everyone is in agreement, Commissioner Sherman, you're the treasurer, you could spearhead this, but to contact OANC and see if that is permissible use of funds, and that particularly our pedestrian walkways, pathways to buses, sidewalks like that, we just get a contractor and pay for it ourselves. This commission has plenty of money to do it. And we should spend it wisely. If they allow us to do that, we should just do it.
If I can thought here, I mean, I know that they've talked about not duplicating city. We can't pay for things that are city services, but clearly the city did not provide the services in anything like a timely manner. So then,
Yeah.
they weren't providing it.
Right. And I would let them tell us no. I mean, we can make the ask and then we can make the argument, because you're right. They're still not clear. They are still not cleared. And in our testimony, we say there's no really division of authority here. I mean, DDOT is blaming it on WMATA. WMATA is blaming it on DDOT. In the meantime, people can't even use the damn bus because you can't get to the bus stops. I mean, we've seen plenty of pedestrians crossing and walking into these, Oregon Avenue is no street to walk into. So it's just a catch-22. So I say, make them tell us no. And then we use that for additional testimony to tell them how they're uncooperative.
I'm perfectly happy to ask the OANC.
Thank you. Thank you for that suggestion. Thank you for agreeing to do it, Commissioner Sherman. Am I okay to go on to the next? Are you good, Commissioner Gore?
Yes.
You're good? Okay, awesome. All right, so the next item on the agenda was one added. This is a letter, and commissioners would find it in their email sent today, and I'm sorry for the delay, but basically I have been trying to get the DMPED to come to speak to our ANC, and before the previous meeting in January, that January 26th meeting on the 23rd, DMPED said they would prepared to come. That was on the 23rd. They were prepared to come on the 26th if you'd like us to join it. That wasn't much time. We had already done some other items. So I said, we could look at a special meeting in February or reserve the meeting today. And basically we were not getting response. When I talked to DMPED last week, they said no, that they would not come to our ANC meeting, that they wanted to have their own meeting in our community. And I feel very strongly that we deserve to have a meeting for our constituents run by their elected representatives. I know that the agencies, they are non-elected. We are elected. I would like to have it with our ANC and have us come here. It doesn't preclude them from having additional meetings in the community, but I would like to have one that we run, because I know some of my constituents have felt in the past that sometimes their questions weren't fully answered, and they felt having a meeting run by the elected representatives would be give them a better opportunity to ask questions. So that is my letter. You should all have it in your ANC inboxes if you haven't pulled it up already. And I would like your support for this letter. Do you have questions for me? And I see Commissioner Gore does. Yes.
So the letter was already sent to the city, or is it draft?
No, I have not sent it to the city.
Okay. Can you read it? Because I haven't seen the letter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you need me to read the whole heading and address? Or can I just start with Deputy Mayor Albert?
Or you can put it in the chat. I'm sorry, I just didn't see your letter.
That's okay. I'll read it to you. Dear Deputy Mayor Albert, so this is to Nina Albert, who's the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. As you know, on January 16th, Mayor Bowser issued a press release announcing the selection of the developer Rift Valley to redevelop our Chevy Chase site located in ANC 34G. This is a project of utmost significance and interest to Chevy Chase, and so we extended an invitation to DMPED through Daniel Lyons to come speak to our community via one of our ANC meetings. On January 23rd, DMPED stated on email and by phone, DMPED and the development team are prepared to join the meeting on Monday, brackets, January 26th. If you would like us to join, I've also asked DCPL and DPR to be available then. Because our agenda for January 26th had already been set and publicly noticed, I shared my concern that a meeting on January 26th might not allow for sufficient engagement with the agencies, and I offered three alternatives: changing the agenda, having a meeting in early February, or reserving the regularly scheduled meeting of February 9th for this topic. Despite multiple emails and phone calls, it was almost 2 weeks, not until the afternoon of Friday, February 6th, that I got a clear answer. That answer was no. DMPED has declined our invitation and intends to hold its own meeting in our community rather than attend an ANC meeting. DMPED's declining our request to have them present at an ANC meeting is a real slap in the face for our community. Our community has many questions about the project, as the bid released on January 16th, as well as figures provided February 6th, show a number of significant changes from the proposal Rift Valley presented this summer. Our community deserves the chance to have the meeting with non-elected agency representatives moderated by its elected representatives, that is the ANC. I urge that DMPED reconsider its decision to decline to appear for the ANC, and I look forward to hearing from you about a date later this month or in early March where we can host DMPED, the developer, DCPL, and DPR. And then I CC'd the other council members. I had a third page where I listed the chronology of emails and phone calls, an attempt to get an answer from DMPED. Commissioner Simmons.
Hi. So the letter, to me, I would support it if we wrote it a little differently. When you read the letter, it implies that DMPED doesn't want to meet with the ANC. It feels that we're telling them that they have to meet with us on our terms, and they're going to meet with the community. It's just trying to get everyone in the community at a 7 p.m. on a Monday. Maybe it works best for everyone that it's a Saturday, similar to how we did the disposition hearing at a particular time. So I just think the letter is, we want our stakeholders to work with us, and we have to present ourselves as though we can be worked with. And I think that the tone of our letter should be changed. So I just think I think that troubles me a little bit to support it, because it shows off a little bit of entitlement. DMPED has said that they will meet with us. So we're given the impression that they said they won't meet with us. So I think
they did say they would not come to an ANC meeting, that they would not present at an ANC meeting. And so I think there's a material difference, right? If I invite someone to my home for dinner and they first say, yes, I will come to your home, and then they say, no, we can go out for dinner, but I will not come to your home. It's a different kind of acceptance. And I think this is the body that is the elected body, and I would like them to meet us here. And so that is why I am proposing this particular letter. I think the setting is important. And when I asked Daniel Lyons, I said, he talked about this kind of the issues that we give the process. And I said, well, how would coming to the ANC preclude your sharing any of that information? And he didn't have an answer for that. Like there was nothing that he could not share with us coming to us.
Okay, so in keeping with your same scenario, if I said I would meet with you at your home, and then you have presented yourself to where it's not welcoming, but I am still open to meeting with you, I think the goal is that we have a meeting. Where we have the meeting or who controls the meeting, the goal is to have a meeting and have community engagement, to have the community meet the developers, to have the community hear from DC Public Library, to have the community to hear from DPR. The goal should be for us to have a meeting with the community. So I think where the meeting happens, who hosts the meeting, who hosts it, shouldn't matter. The ANC will still be at the meeting. DMPED, the developer, and everyone else will be at the meeting. The goal should just be to have the meeting, and DMPED has said they will have the meeting with us.
Okay.
And I think it's important to note that we're going to continuously have more engagement with DMPED, DC Public Library, DPR, and maybe they're going to have a similar setup, like, say, for instance, Go Vocal. So maybe they want to set the precedent that they hold these meetings and continue these meetings for continuity purposes, right? We're only elected for 2 years. People from DEMPED, DC Public Library, they will still have the infrastructure. However they plan on holding these meetings, they're going to continually have that because that is their daily job. They're going to be there. If someone leaves or retire, they're going to have some type of knowledge continuity to where someone is going to lead the project. Similarly, Daniel wasn't the initial project leader, Gills was. So I just think we have to think about the goal. The goal is for us to have community engagement with the stakeholders, and the city is leading the project. The ANC isn't leading the project.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Nagy?
To Commissioner Simmons' point, the meeting that the ANC would run would not have to be on a Monday at 7 o'clock. I think that's seems
correct. I offered having a special meeting.
Right. And so, I mean, the idea that people couldn't participate because it would be on a Monday at 7 o'clock, I think is probably not completely correct. And I do think that it matters who runs the meeting. It is true that DEMPED runs the project, but we are the elected representatives for this ANC, at least for the next year and perhaps beyond. And it does matter that our constituents are represented by us and feel represented by us and don't feel cut out of the process. And offering to DEMPED to come and talk to the ANC and having them decline to come and talk to the ANC is really beyond the pale. And I find it kind of indefensible on the part of our city that they are declining to meet with elected representatives who've asked them to come and meet with the community. I think it's sort of business as usual for DEMPED, and I don't think I could defend that.
Thank you, Commissioner Nagy. Commissioner Grunewald.
Yeah, I agree 100% with Commissioner Nagy, and I'd like to move along and vote on the letter. Thank you.
Okay. I will take the comment from Commissioner Goslin, since he did have his hand up before you moved to take a vote. Thank you, Commissioner Grunewald. Commissioner Goslin.
I have to say that I do think who runs the meeting is important. And I do think that DEMPED should come before us. Now, they can have other meetings with their format, but they should come before us. And I do think there's a lot of history here I would just remind people of the arrival of the notion of surplusing, which was dropped on us kind of out of the blue. I do think we need to have an ANC meeting with DEMPED.
Thank you. Commissioner Gore.
Would you be willing to change one of the languages in your letter, slap in the face, to another term, maybe disappointing, something a little less colloquial?
I was penciling that. Actually, it's funny. I feel like you were reading my mind. I thought, how does this sound? DEMPED's declining our request to have them present at an ANC meeting is a real disappointment to our community.
That's better for me.
That was better for you.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Any further comments, Commissioner Gore?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Grunewald, you had asked that we take a vote. Would you like to move the previous question to take that vote?
Yes, I move that we vote on the letter that Chair Finney is going to send to DEMPED, asking them that they come to a special meeting of our ANC. And I'd like to incorporate the friendly amendment made by Commissioner Gore.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, that's 6. All opposed? Abstentions? 1 abstention. All right, I'll make that change and circulate it out for proofreading tonight, and then I can send it in the morning. That should not take but a second to proofread. Okay. We have a question. Commissioner Grunewald wanted to talk about
So
ANC 1B.
I had my hand up.
I'm sorry, Cal. I need to go on for a minute here because we are so running over time here. Commissioner Grunewald, you wanted to talk
Yeah.
about ANC 1B?
Yeah, this will take all of 3 minutes. So I just wanted to report to our commission that I and a couple of my fellow commissioners, Commissioner Nagy and Commissioner Gore, attended a very unusual online meeting on February 5. It was a regular meeting of ANC 1B, which covers portions of Shaw, U Street, and a portion of Georgia Avenue. And at this meeting, the commissioners of 1B passed a resolution that would to effectively eliminate single-family zoning throughout every neighborhood in the district. ANC 1B's plan is to deliver its resolution to every ANC in the district, to have them vote to approve it too, and then for the resolution to be drafted into the district's comprehensive plan, which is currently undergoing a rewrite. And for people who don't know this, the comprehensive plan is a document that's updated every 20 years that directs and controls the city's future physical growth, land use, and development. The resolution that was passed was written and supported by both Greater Washington, a developer-funded pro-development advocacy organization, and the American Enterprise Institute, a conservative think tank. The commissioner who sponsored the resolution works for AEI and worked with that organization to draft the resolution. The resolution promotes infill conversions of single-family detached homes to row houses, duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, and sixplexes by right in residential R zones throughout the district, and recommends a boom in ADU construction by calling for the removal of, quote, onerous regulatory barriers, including owner occupancy requirements that prohibit renting ADUs and excessive limits on height, massing, footprint, and floor area for ADUs. The resolution also eliminates the ability of all ANCs to review development proposals and have ANC decisions given great weight by city agencies. It was just an extraordinary thing that was passed. Interestingly, the resolution would not affect ANC 1B very much, since it is already a high-density area full of apartment buildings. I can't tell you all just how shocking it was to see ANC 1B adopt a resolution that doesn't even pertain to its own ANC, but effectively tells every other community in the district what their neighborhoods should look like and be like. The resolution that was adopted goes way beyond the purview of ANC 1B. I have to say that I fully expected Greater Washington to push for the elimination of single-family zoning this year, but I didn't expect the push to come from a fellow ANC commission. I believe that our own commission should discuss this and take some form of action against it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Grunewald. I had mentioned to Cal that I wanted to make sure I got back to him, but then also any comments on Commissioner Grunewald's motion. So I will go to Cal and then Commissioner Nagy.
So mine is about the previous item that you voted on. So if you want to wrap up the Carol's thing first and then come back to me, you can do that.
We'll do that. Thank you. Commissioner Nagy.
Yeah, thank you. As Commissioner Grunwald said, I did attend the meeting, and it was really astonishing, actually. What is and one of their constituents who's on their economic development committee actually spoke against the resolution, saying that he thought it was incredible that the ANC would vote to essentially disenfranchise its residents by giving up any ability it would have to review any construction or projects in the ANC. I don't know. Great Weight is implicated. ANC's authority is implicated. It was absolutely amazing to me that they took this position and they voted on it. And I see that Commissioner Gore wants to speak on this.
Thank you, Commissioner Nagy. Commissioner Gore?
Yeah, I just wanted to give my perspective on the meeting. I attended that. I'm familiar with 1B and a lot of their commissioners. But I do think that, and I know as a commission, we've discussed this before, trying to get ready for the comp plan. I'll say the same thing I said before. I think we're a little behind in having those conversations. So I was really interested to see where 1B was procedurally. And, you know, obviously they have been talking about this issue, and they are also setting up a committee to help further some of those conversations. But from, I know this is going to be a huge issue all across the district. I do think areas like Chevy Chase, even parts of 7 and 8, there are some very residential neighborhoods that look just like Chevy Chase in Ward 7 and 8, probably the same builder. That's how similar they look. It's going to be more of a conversation because we're not used to that level of density. But from my perspective, one of the things that I've said this citywide, I have a huge concern with displacement in the city, and that resolution. And I try to get in to ask a question to see what conversation that they had about the displacement question. But you know, the chair kind of stopped the questions at me. So I didn't get to ask that question, and I didn't hear like an answer that was kind of satisfactory to me. So I encouraged them, and I would encourage this ANC to, whenever we send something up, to have solution-oriented issues and facts included. And the displacement issue is an issue that really needs to be thought through very, very well. Even if this ANC has a vote in a majority that says we don't like this, it is still critically important to hammer out why and what the harm is. And that displacement question is a very, very valid. If you look at the statistics on Black and Brown resident loss in DC over the last 10 to 15 years, it's staggering. It is staggering. And if you go back probably 20 years, those statistics would include members of my family, my granddad, as a matter of fact. So it's very important for me to try to address that issue. So I was concerned about the resolution from that standpoint, and also the standpoint that I just don't know if, you know, taking out the ANC's ability to review is a good thing in this particular scenario. So those are the two concerns that I had.
Thank you, Commissioner Gore. And I believe I'm correct in thinking that our ANC, or our section of town, is one of the few areas that has increased in Black and Brown members since the last census. We have become more diverse. Commissioner Gosselin?
Let me just say, this issue is coming our way, not because of ANC 1B, but because the Office of Planning intends to revise the comp plan. But so, and I have said all along that I will not support elimination of single-family zoning at the bridge too far. But I'm just to be clear, Carol, an ANC, if I understand what 1B passed, it was to send out to all ANCs some verbiage that they've approved that for us to discuss. They hardly are making decisions for us.
No, I didn't say they were. I
Okay,
said
so
that.
what you're upset about, I mean, what you're surprised about and horrified by is this notion of elimination of one single family zoning. And that one is going to come drop in our laps as they rewrite the comp plan.
Yes, I knew that, and that was in my election material before I was elected to the ANC. I knew this was coming. It has nothing to do with 1B, but it's very interesting that 1B that it's proceeding in this manner. Okay, it's kind of a really interesting, kind of ingenious actually. That 1B is doing this. They've written this resolution, they've passed it, and they're going to send it to every other ANC in the district. That's kind of ingenious. And a lot of people, don't like Ward 3, right? They don't like Chevy Chase. So I think they're all kind of going to be ganging up on us. So I think it's, in addition to the problems that Commissioner Gore mentioned about, the other wards and the impact that this will have on the other wards, which concerns me as well. I think we also need to be concerned about our own Ward 3 and Ward 4 and what happens here in Chevy Chase with regard to single family zoning. So that's all I want to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gore. Commissioner Nagy.
Yeah.
Commissioner Grunwald, I'm sorry. Thank you, Commissioner Nagy.
Thank you. Okay, so with respect to the comp plan, this is not the normal comp plan timeline. We are having an early comp plan. And I believe that we're having an early comp plan because they want to address the issue of single family zoning. We're not we're not 20 years out from the last comp plan, not even close. And single family zoning has long been the goal of Greater Washington, Coalition for Smarter Growth, people who want to have an impact on Chevy Chase. And I can see Commissioner Grunwald's point that they've figured out a way to do it through the back door. I do agree with Commissioner Gore, and I did speak at the 1B meeting about displacement. Representatives from the wards where displacement is most likely to occur first spoke out against the resolution. They spoke forcefully, they spoke emotionally. They were, I think it's fair to say, outraged at 1B's hubris at doing this. I just wanted to make the point that the people who will be impacted first are the people not in this ANC, I don't believe. I think the first places to go are the places where the property will be less expensive for developers to glom onto, and it will cause displacement of people of color again, more. I mean, when I moved here, Logan Circle was not what Logan Circle is now. And if you look at it, all that affordable housing that was supposed to happen is not very affordable in Logan Circle. So thank you.
Thank you. I know we don't have a vote on this at this time, but let's think about where we want to go forward. And, certainly this is something that needs to come up again, but I think at the interest of time right now, we move on with just wrapping up our commission business. I did want to ask if I might suspend the rules for a moment to allow me to speak on the possible presentation for the Chevy Chase Citizen Association and ANC ranked choice voting demo. I forgot to ask that. Would it be possible for me to speak to that for a moment? Can I motion that we suspend the rules? Can we just take a quick vote? May I? Yes, please. Thank you. Okay. All right. So Gary Thompson of the Board of Elections, former ANC commissioner and resident of our ANC, is going to sent me an email around 5 o'clock this afternoon that he will be coming to the Chevy Chase Citizens Association meeting on February 24th to do an in-person demo on ranked choice voting with a couple of mock machines and some ballots. This was different from information that I had heard earlier this weekend, which indicated that the CCCA wanted to do a Zoom meeting. And I talked with Commissioner Gore, who went down to Anita Bonds's demo hearing for ANC commissioners this weekend. Commissioner Gore felt strongly that it was really important we have an in-person demo. And so wanted to get your thoughts on jointly hosting that. That is one option. Another option is we don't jointly host it. It's the CCA meeting, but we encourage people to attend. Commissioner Gore, would you like to speak?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to raise my hand, but just to give folks a little bit of feedback about the session that Councilmember Bonds. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. My screen just went. I just lost you all. There you go. Okay. That Councilmember Bonds had. First of all, it's a really good session held at the Wilson Building. We were there for about 2.5 hours. BOE staff was there, the director, and probably, I would say, 10 to 15 of her staff members. There were probably about 4 council members that came through, including the chairman, Mendelson, sat in and listened. But there was some extremely robust conversation. And there were commissioners all across the city. The room was filled on that snowy, cold Saturday. So everybody made it a point to track down. Office of ANC was there. Kent Bass attended, so he was able to hear the conversation. And just to make a long story short, I think the vast majority of the people in the room after the presentation, and we had live voting equipment there, we had the sample ballots there, and we had a demo poll. And I think pretty much everybody said there's a lot of information presented that has not been presented to the public in terms of how the ranked choice voting is going to work. And that information has to get out. Now, then this, including how your ballot can be inactivated for that particular race. So there is a way that if you mark your ballot a certain way, that they will discard your ballot for that race. Like, I did not know that. And I don't think hardly anybody in the meeting knew that. And that was like a complete shocker. And when we talk about seniors, and Councilmember Bonds is a heck of an advocate for seniors. And when I tell you, she was on all P's and Q's this meeting, she was like pounding the table about how she felt this was going to severely impact seniors. Even if you have that actual sample ballot, the font in some places is 2-point. It is so small. And she was so adamant about if you have to go to 5 pages of a ballot to get that ballot to where people can actually read it. And some of the small font is the instruction of how to mark the ballot. So if you miss that and you mark your ballot incorrectly, it can be discarded. So the other thing that came up is the interplay with the Postal Service and the new deadlines and rules, I guess, which they say is not new, but just a reinforcement of the postmark deadline. So commissioners felt that they wanted BOE to be a lot more working in collaboration with the U.S. Postal Service so that everyone knows that that ballot has to be into BOE or a ballot box by a certain date, by a certain time. And they were concerned about postmarks. If people put their ballot in the mailbox and it's, doesn't get postmarked by a certain date or that particular date, that it's not going to be into BOE on time. And then just the machines, I think, are going to be a little bit easier in terms of not making a mistake. But I think after playing with stuff, commissioners felt that it's still going to be a learning curve because your ballot is going to have, like, say, maybe one race. And like, if that race has 10 candidates, they're all lined up 5 times. So there's a first, second, third, fourth, and fifth choice. And all the candidates are going to appear under each one. And you're going to rank based on that. So just visually, it's going to look a lot different. So I think it's like, and I had talked to some of the staff, like the staff person that originally reached out to me about it. And we kind of talked about it because, you know, they went back and forth between in person and then a 15-minute session. And I'm like, there's no way, not for any community. I mean, I think the changes are significant enough that we need as much time, and people need to be able to, like, you know, look at that sample ballot and see how it's structured. It's just completely different. So, and then the way it is now, and they did explain that they felt they couldn't go larger because right now it was front and back. And Councilmember Bonds is adamantly opposed to that. She wants something larger, and even if there's like maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 pages, so people can actually see what they're looking at. That's what she was advocating for. And then the other thing that we talked about, just from the ANC perspective, is a little bit more cooperation, because right now things are posted on BOE's website and they're in various places. Commissioners will have to go and like pull this piece of information, pull that in, to try to come up with a package for the community. And so I really stressed and hammered, you know, that process to them, that it's onerous for us to pull that stuff together, try to come up with a great email, try to make it so that, you know, our community has all the information, including regulations that have an open comment period till the 22nd. I don't think hardly any of us knew about that. So I had promised, you know, the council member that I would work on my comments to the regulations. And she really stressed to the ANCs to get in there, dig in those regulations and submit comments. So I know we don't have time to do that as a commission, but individually thinking about our constituents, we should look at those. And I know some of them are by statute and some of them are not, and submit comments to it. So there was a lot that went on at that meeting. I was grateful that they had it. I think it was a really good session. I wish they would have had it a little bit earlier so we'd have more time. At the end of the day, this election is not far away. And when it comes to educating our community about the changes that ranked choice voting is going to require them to understand, we don't have a lot of time. But I do think the quickest and easiest and most efficient way to do that is an in-person session where they can get in there and actually see what the ballot, because when you look at the ballot, I was like, holy cow. I mean, that's going to be a lot. And we got a lot of candidates running. So it might get confusing for folks, you know, to try to go through that process. And then if you can't see the instructions because of the way the ballot is processed and presented, it's just going to make it a little bit more complicated. So I'm really, really, really in favor of an in-person session after attending that training hosted by the council member.
Thank you, Commissioner Gore, for all those comments and for going and coming back with that in-person feedback for everybody. So I guess the question now is, you know, for us as a commission, do we want to jointly host or do we want to advertise the Chevy Chase Citizens Association's meeting? I think we can't go wrong. You know, we can advertise it or we can host it. But it is going to happen and it will be live. So what course do we want to take? Commissioner Nagy.
I don't know that it's a bifurcated choice like that. I don't think it's in either we advertise theirs or we host it. I think we can do both. And I do think we should host it. So I don't want to vote. I don't want to vote on that, basically. I want to vote on hosting our own and also advertising for the the Citizens Association. I don't think it's an either or situation.
Okay, well, perhaps at this hour of night I wasn't so clear, but for the one on February 24th, we do need to respond to the Civic Association and tell them if we wish to be co-hosts. If we do not wish to be co-host at this time, we can of course advertise it. So the question, I guess, would be, do we want to co-host this meeting with them? I would say we would not all need to attend, but we do have time to give 7 days advance notice if we do wish to make it an official co-hosted ANC meeting. We have that 7-day requirement. Okay. Commissioner Grunewald?
What's involved in co-hosting? What do we have to do?
We come to the meeting. They would introduce the Chevy Chase Board of Directors. We introduce the commissioners who are there. And then one of us would introduce Gary Thompson from the Board of Elections. And then we would facilitate, and he would do his presentation, and then we would jointly facilitate questions. That was the process that I had. So I don't think it's a lot of heavy lifting on our part, but if we co-hosted, since it is a live meeting, we would want, at least one person to be there live. Others could be on Zoom because it will be hybrid. Sorry, I should have made that more clear. They're going to make it hybrid. But I think at least one of us would need to be in person. Commissioner Sherman and then Commissioner Nagy.
Yeah, first of all, I support co-hosting it and saying yes to that. Also, Gary Thompson, who is the chair of the Board of Elections, is on the call now if we wanted to get any immediate comment from Gary. He is a constituent of mine and a friend of mine, and I think it'd be a great thing for us to co-host this. We can decide that we would do something in addition to that. I'm not ruling that out, but the offer on the table right now is to co-host this, and it's coming up very soon, and I support doing that.
Okay, yes, it would not preclude us from having a second meeting. And if it is, the case that this is complicated, and we need to reach more people, a second meeting when the weather is not so cold might not be a bad idea. Commissioner Nagy.
I was just about to say, I know that Gary Thompson is on the call, and I think, could we ask him if he minds doing 2 sessions?
Gary Thompson.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hi. So Commissioner Nagy asked if we were to, you have the CCCA meeting on the 24th. Would you be willing to do an additional session later?
Yeah. Yes, of course. We could do a session on the 24th with the CCCA and do that by Zoom only if that's what they want to do. And then later we could do a live session, or we could do anything you guys want. Yeah.
Okay. I understood from your email this afternoon that their session was going to be live and not Zoom, which was different from what I had heard this weekend. What is your understanding of the 24th?
I think they preferred Zoom. That was their original request. I think you guys want to do it live, so that was me coming up with the idea of a hybrid, so we could do it both ways.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking ahead, if you want to split it up into 2 different meetings, we could do it both ways in two different dates.
Commissioner Gore had spoken very powerfully strongly about feeling that we needed to do it in person to see the machines and the ballots. Commissioner Nagy?
That's actually my follow-up question is to Gary. Will you be able to bring machines to us at the ANC one? Apparently not for the CCA one, but it would be great if we could have machines at our meeting. We would do it in person, obviously, and have the machines to do a demo.
Yeah, we have 3 digital voting machines, and they're set up with a mock election race between, Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, etc. And it really is, it's very intuitive to approach the screen and see for yourself what your eyes see and then what your fingers touch. It's I found it to be instantaneously educational in a way that just talking about it, is not.
That would be awesome. That would be really great. I see Commissioner Moore nodding her head, going, yes, yes, yes. That would be terrific. And do you have a thought about the timeline for the in-person meeting?
We are scheduling up 2, almost 3 meetings a day from here until, April, May. So just let us know. We've got our voter outreach team is, well staffed to set all this up. I mean, the machines can only be one place on any given night. Um, but there's still a lot of open dates. So I can help facilitate that.
That would be great. Thank you so much. Thanks for taking the questions.
Commissioner Goslin.
I think we have this issue wrapped up, right? I mean, we're gonna jointly sponsor with a virtual session with CCA, and then talk to Gary and organize something. I just remind commissioners, we've talked about shorter meetings. Commissioner Finney has put out an agenda that ended at 8:45. It's now 9:33. Could we move on?
Well, I think yeah. Okay, so do we need to take a vote on it, or can I tell, because I do want to respond to the CCCA. I mean, my preference would be for hybrid if Gary can do that. But I know that the CCCA wanted to do Zoom. Is anyone opposed to saying okay for Zoom?
No,
And then
because
just we'll schedule our own.
We're looking
we'll
at a second event potentially, so we can.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll respond and yes, that we would be happy to co-host on Zoom. Any commissioners who would like to attend, we'll get that information out. It will be February 24th, which will be a Tuesday after our next scheduled meeting. And then we'll schedule our own in-person with Gary. That's great. Okay. Now we're going on to
Laura,
treasure.
excuse me, Laura.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me. I think Cal has his hand raised.
Oh, I'm sorry,
It's
Cal.
all right. This goes way back to when you were voting on the language of changing that language from a slap in the face or whatever it was to disappointment. And from the time you called for asked for a motion to be put on the table to the time you finished the voting was about 45 seconds. So I didn't have a chance to say. So it is a slap in the face. I understand if you don't want to use that exact language, but that would be more of a wake-up call. Disappointment, I'm sure they say, oh, well, they're disappointed. That happens in everything we do. I would urge you to come up with something stronger than disappointment. I really do. And I wanted to say that before you voted.
Well, thank you. I'm afraid that we have picked that language, but I can certainly convey that in person if I need to, if that comes up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They have a history of
sorry, I didn't
disappointing
get-
everybody. They have a history of disappointing people. So
Yeah, no, but I think, I take my commissioner's suggestions into account and we went with theirs. So we did that. Okay, let's see. We have treasurer's report. Commissioner Sherman, do you have anything there?
No.
Okay. We have Commissioner Simmons, Civic Corps special meeting date.
This is where I'm gonna share information. You already moved forward with the letter. So this is the area where I'll talk about the new information that we've learned for the Civic Corps. So for the community's knowledge, a resident reached out to DMPED with a letter of questions and DMPED responded to the letter of questions. I just wanted to highlight some information from that. One of the questions was in regards to the height of the building. So DMPED responded that the height is currently at a point from Northampton. And again, nothing is built yet, but the design for the proposal that was selected was 55, a height of 55 with the 15 for the penthouse setback. So I think the total is what, 70, 55, 60, 70. Yep, 70. And then they also provided a chart for the housing makeup. So just a reminder, there are going to be 177. There is a proposed 177 units. And through that, it's broken out from studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and 3 bedroom. So as I mentioned at our last meeting, this development will be the first development from the Circle on down to at least Jocelyn with 3-bedroom apartments for the apartments that's already here. So they're going to be a total of 26 studio apartments, 18 at the market rate, and then 4 each for the 30% MFI and the 50%. When we get to 1-bedroom, there are 70 units, 48 are at market rate, 11 and 11 for both of the affordable percentages. For 2 bedrooms, 66, 46 market rate, 10 and 10 for the 30 and 50%. And then for 3 bedrooms, 15, 11 at market rate, and 2 and 2 at the 30 and 50%. One of the things that came up, especially as it relates to parking, so there will be 147 proposed spaces for parking, just so that is clear. I think we have about 25 or so currently at the slot. I can't remember, but you also have some where people park where it's like the fire lane. But there's going to be 30 spots for our Civic. So I think we may have about 20 something there, but we're going to have 30 for the Civic space. So we won't be losing parking for what's currently already there. And then the remaining is going to be for the apartments and retail. And something to point out is that the parking, we're going to have a portion of parking underground. I believe based on the renderings that they show, there will still be some above ground parking. And then I want to remind everyone, the community again, that DPR set their design guidelines for 2,100 square feet. The proposal selected is gonna, excuse me?
Is it not 1,000? 2,100 square feet or 1,000?
21,000, yeah. So the design guidelines was for 21,000 square feet. The selected proposal is 21,600. And then DPR design guidelines for the library, I'm sorry, DCPL design guidelines for the library was 23,000 square feet, and the proposal selected is to provide 23,500. And then as we've mentioned before, that the goal is for DMPED, DC Public Library, DPR, and ANC to have engagement. So that was just the only update I wanted to provide.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. I tried to capture in the chat. I didn't catch the 2 bedrooms, but I got the others, I think, accurately in the chat.
2 bedrooms, 66, 46.
Okay.
Market, 10 and 10.
Okay.
You guys, all the commissioners have this because I forwarded it to you.
Right. I was just typing it in for the folks who were on the call. All right.
Well, I just wanted to make sure I share it with the community because the community did not receive this information. So,
well, that would be my suggestion that we post it.
Yeah, that's my question.
Okay.
Is there any reason why we can't post this information on the listserv and on Chevy Chase Chatter and on the website?
It gets public. It was released to a resident, so there's with no restrictions on embargoing it. So I think we're okay.
I think we should do that.
Okay, great. Commissioner Grunewald.
Yeah, I just have one question. I understand that these questions were submitted by Claudia Russell, who is an architect who lives in Bruce's SMD. And she was able to obtain these answers. And I don't understand why DMPED is not providing this material to the ANC directly. Why did a resident of our neighborhood have to write in and obtain this information? Why isn't this information automatically being shared by DMPED or DMPED's representatives in our neighborhood?
DMPED is going to share this information when we have our community meeting. So we're still working on that.
My point is that it seems like certain select people get information, but not other people. And that doesn't seem right. I don't understand. We're the elected representatives of this community. Why isn't DMPED sending this information to us? Why do we, Claudia is great, and I'm glad she did it, but why, Claudia Russell, but why did she have to do that? Why did a resident have to write in to get this information? Why wasn't this information supplied to our ANC?
Well,
That's
I
all.
I'd like to just say I have no idea. I wrote it
No,
in. I
no.
never expected to get anything back, and I
Yeah,
did. So it
it's
seems like
weird.
it's luck of the draw.
Yep.
And just to add a little note,
But thanks for doing it, Claudia.
yeah. Well, I want to credit Claudia for doing it, and just so all the commissioners know, I just sent it to 1,000 people, so it's not as though the community is not getting this. I am completely supportive of putting this out on the listserv, and all of you as commissioners sending it out to your constituents. I support very much the fact that it did come through a resident who took the initiative to write to DEMPED, and Claudia then shared it with me, and I've shared it with you commissioners, and I'm appreciative of the fact that Commissioner Simmons shared it tonight. So I think we should get it out to the whole community.
I agree with you, Bruce. That's not what I was saying. I was just saying that a resident shouldn't have to be the one to get the information. That this information should come directly to the elected representatives. But yes, thank you, Claudia. You know, Claudia is great. Thank you.
Commissioner Nagy?
Yeah, actually, yes. I'm going to second and third, or however many we're at. Claudia, thank you for getting that information. And where would we be without you? Which kind of speaks to the point of DEMPED refusing to come to our meeting. We, as the ANC, can't get them to come to a meeting. We can't seem to get them to provide the information. I'm not sure what is going on here, but it's not right. And we need to deal with that. We absolutely need to deal with that.
Well, I'll amend the letter.
There's definitely a pattern, and that pattern needs to be broken.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have next possible items for February 23rd. We'll see if we can get OANC in for the website. We have Murray. I also, looking at my calendar, it seems that we're going to be hitting the 30-day from the first January meeting timeline for people to submit their application or intention or hope to join the race committee. And I was wondering if we could get those bios and statements of interest collated so that we could get that committee official by the vote on the 23rd, so that we can have the committee meeting officially and have people appointed and not just sort of hanging out. So that would be my hope there. Any other thoughts for the February 23rd? Commissioner Nagy?
I'd like to make a motion that we get those bios from the race committee by the 20th.
And is this only for new members? Because I mean, we just did bios
Anyone who would be on the committee.
So just collate them like in one document, old and new.
So I don't have a list for any new individuals. It's just the old ones that we approved in November.
So there are no.
And you already have those bios.
Who've expressed interest.
I mean, no one has 3G office forward any. No one sent me.
Okay.
No new people have sent me anything.
Okay, if you can send me the list that you have, and I will also I will cross-check it with a 3G mailbox and make sure, and then we can get those out. That'll be even sooner if there's nobody in the mailbox and nobody that you've gotten. Because that would be, I guess, Wednesday would be the last day. Is that correct? If my timing's right?
It's Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay, awesome. So yeah, if you could send me your list, I'll cross-check it against the mailbox, and then we can get that to the commissioners. That would be awesome. Do we need to take a vote on that, or is that something we can just do?
Well, I mean,
what do you think?
If Commissioner Simmons says there's no one other than the folks we already know about, then I can withdraw my motion.
Okay. And Commissioner Simmons, you'd be able to get me a list and I can cross-check it against the mailbox for the general mailbox of 3G?
Yep, I'll read. It's the, yes.
Okay, Awesome. That'll be great. Thank you so much. All right. And thank you, Commissioner Nagy, keeping us on track here with our time for that important change, or that vote. We have, I think, commissioner reports now. So I'll just go in order. Commissioner 3G01, Commissioner Gore.
She dropped off.
She had to drop off. 3G02, Commissioner Sherman.
No, thank you.
Commissioner 3G03, Grunewald.
Yep, I would just like to briefly just thank again our MOKers, the Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services, Kendall Gibson and Owen Cox, who have worked with me and other commissioners to get the services and help where it was needed in my SMD and throughout Chevy Chase during the snow emergency. Despite my best efforts, however, I still have constituents who have not received trash and our recycling services, and the bobcats that were just recently employed to clear alleys and help open up streets have in some cases created new problems. But I will continue to work with DPW and the MOKers, as we all will, I'm sure, to make sure snow and trash recycling services are delivered. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Grunewald. And 3G, I guess 04, that's me. I'm ditto with Carol. I appreciate the MOKers' unfailing good humor and energy through this crisis. It's been exhausting, and I appreciate Commissioner Sherman's going to testify, and hopefully we will have a better process at the end of it. But met a lot of neighbors as a result. And I want to thank everyone who was kind about the parking for Mr. Benob's celebration of life service. I think it was good to see folks trying to clear spaces and make room for people to come. And that was important. 3G05, Commissioner Simmons?
No.
Okay. 3G06, Commissioner Goslin.
Oh.
3G07, Commissioner Nagy.
Okay, well, I'm going to take the opportunity to say thank you really quickly to Kendall and Owen for all that they've done. And I have to say also to Randy Thorpe, who does this all with amazing good humor. I don't know quite how she does it, but she does. That's not to say that there weren't problems, but you don't get a lot of pushback from her. I'm going to take the opportunity to read what's left in the chat here. From Cal, tomorrow, Tuesday, is the last day to provide comments on WMATA's proposed 2027 budget. And he puts a link in the chat for those people who are interested in commenting. And Claudia Russell mentions that the Monk Walk streets in DC is now being reported. And I did read that earlier. A number of streets are going to be essentially impassable, including Arizona Avenue going over Chain Bridge, and some streets, some part of Wisconsin Avenue. And that is being reported at WTOP.com. So for those who are thinking about driving around town tomorrow, you might want to take a look at that. And thank you, everybody, for coming. That's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm sorry this ran late. I think we had good conversations, productive conversations. Got some Go Vocal going. We've got some ranked choice votes going. We've got new discussions about comprehensive plan. So there was a lot more meat than we had originally planned. But since there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Stay safe, stay warm, and we'll see you later this month. Thank you for coming.
9:51, Laura?
Yes, it is 9:51. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.